Welcome to Ride Along. I'm Joe Monahan. Today's subject is going to be one of my favorites, but it also can be a very challenging subject, and that's repositories, specifically backup repositories. Keeping this simple, what is a backup repository? Simply put, a backup repository is where you store your backups. It's also where you're going to recover your backups from. The challenge is not implementing these repositories. That's actually pretty easy because there's so many solutions out there that make it easy. The challenge is how many options you have. So, for example, if we're talking about on-prem, it really comes down to what features do you need. Now, we have incredibly feature-rich solutions. When you talk about the ones that, like HP, Dell, IBM, those are very large topics. But let's talk about some that really interest me. Not that those don't, but these are very compelling because they do some very specific things very well. Things like Exagrid, things like Pure, things like Cloudian, for example. All right? They all have similar solutions built in, but they all have specific solutions that they do very, very well. Some of those features include, amazingly, the ability to dedupe while still providing a basically SSD level restore speed, because they're able to give you the experience of keeping some of that data on solid state drives, but deduping a portion of it, or even a large portion of it, to save you space. Saving space saves you money, but deduplication by itself, saving space doesn't always mean performance. So, when you think about being able to save space and have performance with an on-prem solution, it's pretty amazing. They also provide you that same solution off-site as well in a lot of these solutions. But now let's take it a step further. They also build into this solution things like immutability features. They build in security. These are all the things that people are really looking for. Getting out there and looking at these solutions is going to be important. Testing those solutions is going to be important. Well, now let's shift our attention to the cloud. A whole lot of people keep pushing and talking about go to the cloud, go to the cloud. Well, there's a lot of advantages, but you better do some research because not all cloud solutions are the same. For instance, some cloud solutions might let you back up all the data you want, but they charge you how much you want to restore by the terabyte, by whatever it is, okay? Some solutions, that's not a bad thing, but know what you're paying for, okay, and know what you're not paying for. The time that you're really going to need it is when you restore. And if you have a major issue and you have to restore a lot of data, that can be very costly. But let's look at another scarier subject. Let's say you get hit with a ransomware, okay? And you have paid for this solution, that's the answer, this cloud solution. But come to find out that it might cost you more through your cloud solution to recover it than it would be to pay the ransomware. That's a very odd situation to be in. The other one might be speed. You're going to pay for how fast you want it back, so you're basically paying for the size of the pipe that they're going to open up for you. Now again, this is not good or bad. This is hardware that they are paying for, they're just giving you access to it. That is a whole other subject I'm not going to get too deep into, but those are things that you have to consider. Accessibility as well is another one. Some cloud providers might not have the level of redundancy that you're looking for. Sounds crazy, but there's small and there's big. So let's go back to general repository. The general idea of the location of the repository is going through that same discussion we just had and fitting the solution where you want it, on-prem, DR site, cloud, how those are going to work together. And that's the other side of that conversation, is choosing a repository solution that's going to be compatible with the way that you want to work and work in the future. So future-proof and pay-as-you-grow, if you will. You know, I don't want to buy this monstrous solution if it's not going to pay dividends or be fully used for 3 or 4 years. I want to get what I need now and then add as I go, so that other money could have been used elsewhere. The biggest subject here is how much data am I going to be using, and is it all going to fall under the same category? In a video that I did called The Value of Data, that will discuss a lot of that. But the thing with the repository that you have to remember, especially with a solution like Veeam, is I can use multiple different repositories to create a single solution. So I could have on-prem a NAS solution, I could have a solid-state solution, I could have a deduplication solution. All of those running simultaneously and holding different types of data. That is where the challenge comes in, is sitting down and defining the data you have, defining where it should be stored, and then defining the solution in which I want to store it on. That's why that I've always said the repository conversation can get really challenging really fast. The great news is there's a lot of phenomenal solutions out there that will give you what you need and what you want. So make sure that you do your due diligence on these solutions, and you'll end up with a great final product that's meeting the needs that you want and growing with you. I hope this helps. Thanks for riding along. I'm Joe Monahan.